Hey, this is Brad from Elevar. Thank you so much for downloading the Google Tag Manager Suite by Elevar. I really appreciate your business. I want to take a couple minutes to get you up and running as quickly and seamlessly as possible. 2 questions before you actually go through the configuration process. Number 1, do you already have Google Tag Manager installed on your website? If you do, then you will want to make sure that you remove the existing script that is on your site before actually going through our configuration setting. Number 2, are you currently on Shopify or Shopify Plus? The only difference between the two is if you are on Shopify Plus, then you are able to actually move all of your Google Analytics and enhanced e-commerce reporting to GTM off of the native Shopify GA setup, because you're able to run everything through all pages, your checkout, etc., and you have full customization ability. If you are not on Shopify Plus and just on the standard plans, we do recommend keeping the native GA and Shopify setup in place. It works just fine. And you can use Google Tag Manager to enhance some of those reports. So if you want to send a few of the missing enhanced e-commerce reports, you can do that through the containers that we have set up for you. Alrighty, so let's get started. Step number 1, we need to grab your Google Tag Manager container ID and enter it into the app settings. So this is a super simple step. All you have to do here is just take your GTM container ID, go over to our steps here, and then click Save and Update. At this point, what we are doing, we have gone through the process of actually creating the data layer snippets on your production theme. So let's just pop over to our theme settings here and go into Edit Code. So these have been automatically added. If you search your files for Elevar, you'll see 3 snippets that have been added here. And then in your theme.liquid, we've actually included these snippets automatically as well. So we have the include Elevar head at the top and then include Elevar body end at the bottom. The Elevar head, so this is basically just the Google Tag Manager snippet, and it has your container ID. And then the body end file is where all the magic happens. So this is where we have all of the data layer being created for different interactions like product views and variant changes and add to carts and cart views, etc. So you don't need to change anything in here. This is all configured for you and automatically created in your store. If you are on Shopify Plus, then you have the Elevar checkout end. And again, this is injected into your checkout.liquid. So we have some of that tracking set up for you through the entire purchase process. Step number 2, we talked about already. So remove your pre-existing GTM script. So just make sure once you've saved and updated that you go through the process of removing that old script, and we show you how you can find where you might have this set up. Step number 3, we need to copy this data layer for the thank you page and then actually go into your checkout settings, which you can just click the link. This will open up your checkout settings here. At this point, you have the full data layer. So let's say if this was empty or maybe you had a few other scripts, you can just copy this in. If you already have a pre-existing data layer potentially in here, you will want to look to see if you have the same variables or the same similar data layer. Make sure you don't have duplicates again. Same thing as the snippets in the theme. You don't need to update anything here. This has your GTM container ID that you entered in your app settings. If you want to remove anything from the data layer, you can, or if you want to add or edit, you can do that as well. And the same goes with the theme here. You have full control. Everything is self-contained in your store. There's nothing going to Elevar servers, or we're not collecting any of this data ourselves. Everything is self-contained within your store. So you have full control over all of this data collection. Alrighty, so now let's move on to the next step, which is actually going through the process of importing the tags, triggers, and variables into your Google Tag Manager account. If you click this download container, this will take you to a folder where we have a few different options here. We have Shopify Non-Plus, Shopify Plus, and then some miscellaneous containers. Let's take a look at the Shopify Non-Plus. So all you have to do to get this file is just right click on this. You can download this file, save it to your computer, And then you can actually go over into your Google Tag Manager account. You do not need to have a new account. If you have a pre-existing container that you want to merge this in with, that's perfectly fine. You can go through that merging process, which I'll show you how to do. So under our admin settings, if you go to import container, choose container file. I have the plus file, but same process here. Select the file to import, and then you can choose your existing workspace, or you can create a new workspace. So we'll do our Elevar app here. And then very important here, if you do have existing tags and triggers that you want to merge, then be sure to select the merge option. You can see the detailed changes, everything that's being added. So now I'm ready to go. I'm going to confirm the import. So this has created all of the tags, all of the triggers, all of the variables that map to all of the options that you now have at your disposal. So if you want to run dynamic remarketing, AdWords dynamic remarketing through GTM, we have all those tags set up, and these are pre-mapped to all of the variables that are in the data layer. So basically the way that all of these tags work, whether it's GA, AdWords, Facebook, Pinterest, Klaviyo, etc., we have our tag configurations, and these match exactly to the spec that the different marketing channels provide. We have the variables that are pre-configured. So these variables are ultimately the data that's being populated from your store. And these are, you do have the option to customize these just like you do in the theme, but these are all pre-configured. You don't need to change anything in these individual files. We actually have a single folder here, which we call update on install. And these contain the only tags that really need to go through and update. So let's take a look at that AdWords conversion ID. So this is just a dummy value, conversion ID value. You'll need to update this with your own AdWords ID, and we have help docs that'll walk you through exactly where to find that. So once you have this value and you update that, this is automatically pulled into all of your AdWords or marketing tags. Same thing for your pixel ID. So you'd enter your Facebook pixel ID here, which we also have docs on where you can find that. And last but not least would be the Google Analytics. So if you are running Google Analytics through GTM, you want to update your tracking ID here with your specific GA property number. The other two tags that we have here that you can update in the install, we have the AdWords transaction. So if you are running your AdWords conversion tracking through Google Tag Manager, you will need to update the conversion label here. So again, we're using a variable here to pull in your conversion ID, which is, the nomenclature is a little bit confusing. It's not really a conversion ID, but it's not also your account ID. Our help docs will show you exactly where you can find that. But this is the conversion label that is part of your actual purchase transaction conversion that you would create inside of AdWords that you need to update here. We also include an add to cart conversion, which is good for more middle of the funnel analysis, which you can add here. All right, so now once you have everything, I'll show you how this works on the front end. So you can put this into preview mode. And what this will allow you to do is actually view your different store data, your GTM data. You can view this while browsing through your website to do your own QA. So now that we have this, wait for this to load up. All right, so now we're in preview mode, and let's pop over here to our store, and we'll just reload. All right, so now we have GTM in preview mode, and we can start to see the different items populating here. And my store is not slow. It looks like we have, okay, I had a little bit of a delay with the video going here. Alrighty, so this is the GTM that's in preview mode, and you'll see all of the different GTM events that are executing here. So you'll see we have the product detail view. So this is on a product page. Each one of these, and again, we have docs that'll go into more detail for you, but basically what you can do is go through your main pages, so your product view and your add to cart and the collection page. And if you click on that specific event, you can actually click in to go to the data layer here, and you'll see all of the data that's made available to you. So this is ultimately the data that is being pulled into the different tags. So if we look at the AdWords remarketing item, you'll see that we have our different custom parameters here. The ID is empty here, so this is actually mapped to SKU. I guess I don't have a SKU set up on this test product here, but you'll see the different values that'll come through. So the $100, the ecom page type of product, visitor type of guest, etc. We'll go through let's just collapse this a little bit here. We'll click our add to cart. All right, so now we're going to see our cart page that'll finish loading up here. Alrighty, so now we have our cart page, and you'll see, again, if we take a look at the data layer, we have our cart total, which is being passed along with the different cart specific items here. Oops, that just popped around for me. So just all of our different cart specific items here. Now the add to cart firing, so that the add to cart actually did fire. You might not have seen it. So there's a little trick that you can do if you're going through and testing. If you do have an auto redirect to the cart page on your store, you can actually just click escape on your keyboard after you click add to cart, and many times that'll stop the page from reloading. So this is the process you can go through to check the data layer across all the different pages. And again, we go through full detail in a help doc on what to look for specifically on each page. The changes that you might need to make. So one thing to think about with your Google Shopping, and this goes for Facebook as well, if you are running product remarketing and you have a product feed imported into your Google Merchant Center, let's say you have a variant ID or product ID as the primary ID for your product feed instead of SKU. So when you're sending a product feed to AdWords or Facebook, you have to send them basically your primary ID. By default, all of our tags are set to SKU. So SKU is set as the primary product ID that we're using for the pixel. So the ID in the pixel needs to match the ID in our product catalog. If this is anything different, we have those variables available, so we have them named as well. So this one would be the AdWords product view. Let's say you had product ID as your primary ID in your catalog. You could just change this to the AdWords view product ID. Or if you had the Shopify _US or Shopify _ another country code, you can change that here as well. So that is one thing to consider if you are passing the ecom product ID. In addition to the ID, this is another part that gets confusing with nomenclature. So ID is something that Google changed, I think it was about April of 2019. They started moving from ecom prod ID to just ID. But we do have this as a backup in case you're still using this in some of your audience creation. So you can change this in both places. So let's take a look at Facebook, how we would do that with Facebook. So if we wanted to deploy Facebook tracking through GTM, you can go to Facebook product view, and then same thing here. We'll just go to our IDs, and then we could just change this product view. You can start typing in, and we'll do the product view ID here. So that's as simple as that. And then if we did want to go through and unpause, we'd have to go through and change that in all of our tags here. So that's it. You'll see the tags that are imported here. We have AdWords, the transactions we looked at. We have the remarketing tags. We have, this is the Shopify Plus container. So this is the enhanced e-commerce and Google Analytics tags. So again, these are all pre-mapped to you or pre-mapped for you. And then Facebook. And then last but not least, this is something that we recently added. So this is JavaScript error tracking. This will be an event that will push into your analytics account. And the event category is JavaScript errors. So what we're trying to do here is catch any errors that might be coming up from different browsers, things like that during the checkout process that could potentially break any of your execution of the data layer or any tags. So that's there. That's if you start seeing JavaScript errors inside your analytics account, that's where they're coming from. And that's it. So there's 5 steps to get up and running. And as you can see here, we went through step number 5, which is going through updating our variables and publishing. Once you are ready to go and publish, you can go through and just submit that here. And please keep in mind, you don't need to transition everything. If you want to pause some of these events, you can pause them through GTM and just launch some of your other AdWords or marketing tags. If you are planning on moving like Pinterest and Snapchat and other marketing channels through GTM, you'd go through that same process. So we provide all of those pre-built containers for you. You just go through here, import the container, choose that downloaded file that we provide you, and then you just go through that same process of updating your the account ID. So whether it's your Snapchat, Pixel, etc. And that's it. So that's hopefully about 5 or 10 minutes to get you up and running. If you have any questions or issues, please reach out to us. Our help email is help@getelevar.com, and we'll be sure to get you taken care of as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and looking forward to working with you again in the future.